Hey everyone, welcome back to the deep dive. So today we're tackling a topic that I think a lot of us have unfortunately had to deal with at some point in our lives.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be diving into the world of breakups, specifically how to cope and recover after a relationship ends. And thankfully, our amazing listeners have provided us with a ton of really interesting sources to work with today.
Yeah.
We've got everything from articles and personal stories to advice columns from university health services.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of good stuff. A lot of different angles.
Yeah, I mean, it's a universal experience, isn't it, this heartbreak thing?
It is. And you know what I find so interesting is
Yeah.
just how much info is out there on how to navigate it.
Right, and going through all these sources,
Yeah.
it really is like reading about those classic hero myths, you know? Like,
Wow.
we face this huge challenge, we stumble and fall, we learn from our mistakes,
Right.
and eventually, hopefully, we come out stronger on the other side.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. That's a great analogy. This deep dive isn't just about, like giving generic advice.
Right.
It's really about understanding the process, the emotional arc of healing.
Exactly, like a roadmap for getting through it.
That's right.
So the first thing that really jumped out at me as we started digging into these sources
Okay.
was just how normal it is
Right.
to feel like a complete emotional wreck after a breakup.
Oh, for sure.
Like you're on this crazy roller coaster of feelings,
Yeah.
sadness, anger, confusion, even relief sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. And all of that's totally valid.
It is, right.
Like you said, it's totally normal to feel that whole mix of emotions. It's
Yeah,
almost like grieving,
it is.
Like we're not just losing a person, we're losing a part of ourselves.
That's such a good point. And there's this one article, Self-Care After a Breakup, that really hammered that home for me.
Okay.
The author talks about how this particular breakup
Yeah.
hit her harder than other losses in her life.
Right.
And it wasn't just sadness. It was this intense feeling of not being good enough
Oh, yeah?
because someone had chosen to leave.
I see.
Have you encountered that in your work, like that specific feeling?
Absolutely. Yeah, I've seen it so many times, especially
Yeah.
when the breakup was unexpected or there were strong feelings of rejection involved.
Yeah.
And it really highlights that need for validation we all have,
Yeah, it does. Like that feeling of belonging.
Exactly.
So crucial. You know, what really resonated with me from a lot of these sources was this idea
Okay.
that trying to avoid those tough emotions after a breakup can actually make them even worse.
Oh, yeah.
Like ignoring a wound, it'll just fester.
Totally. It's like trying to hold a beach ball underwater.
Oh,
It's just going to pop up somewhere else.
that's such a good visual. One of the articles from the University of Colorado,
Yeah.
6 Things to Do After a Breakup,
Mm-hmm.
really emphasize allowing yourself to actually feel those emotions. Don't judge them. Just let them be there.
Yeah. It's so important to acknowledge those feelings.
It is. So like we were saying before, acknowledging those feelings, letting yourself grieve the relationship,
Right.
that's step 1.
Yeah.
But it's not a one-time thing, is it?
No, definitely not a quick fix.
Healing takes time, right?
It does. It's not linear.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly. There will be good days and bad days.
Oh, yeah.
Clarity one day, doubt the next.
No.
Totally normal.
And I think 8 Ways to Feel Better After a Breakup had some good advice on this.
Oh, yeah. What did they say?
Let yourself cry if you need to,
Yeah.
but also know when to reach out for help
Right.
if those feelings become overwhelming.
So important. And that actually leads us to our next step,
Okay.
setting boundaries.
Boundaries, yes. So important. We've talked about acknowledging our own emotions,
Mhm.
but what about those outside forces that might be holding us back?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, 6 Things to Do After a Breakup had some great points about this.
Oh.
They talk about being intentional about who you talk to, how much contact you have with your ex,
Okay.
even limiting that, social media stalking.
Oh, the social media stalking, that's a big one. I think we've all been there.
Yeah, right. Scrolling
This
endlessly.
is torturing ourselves.
Exactly.
But I found this really interesting tip.
Okay.
Scheduled mourning.
Scheduled mourning.
Yeah. Have you heard of that?
Interesting. Tell me more.
Basically, you set a timer for like 5 minutes.
Okay.
You check your ex's profiles, get it out of your system,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're done for the day.
Oh, I kind of like that. It's like giving yourself permission to wallow,
Right.
but within healthy limits.
It's like dipping your toe in the water
Yeah,
instead of diving headfirst into the deep end.
exactly.
Yeah.
And, it's all about control.
It is. You're in control.
You're setting the boundaries.
And this ties in nicely with the whole concept of closure,
Mm-hmm.
which 8 ways to feel better after a breakup. really dives into.
And they warn against those let's stay friends situations or those
Yeah.
coffee dates too soon.
Too soon, yeah. Why do you think those can be so bad for the healing process?
Well, imagine a wound that's just starting to heal.
Okay, yeah.
You wouldn't keep picking at the scab, right?
Yeah.
It needs time to mend.
Right.
And I think relationships are kind of similar.
They are.
Jumping back into that dynamic,
Yeah.
even as friends,
Yeah.
it can just rip open those wounds.
Before they've had a chance to close up.
Exactly.
So we've talked about those internal emotions, setting those external boundaries. But what about that shift in focus?
Oh, yeah, that's crucial.
Like moving away from your ex and focusing on yourself.
So many sources talk about that. Reclaiming your mental space.
It is. And how can we do that? What are some practical steps?
Well, there are a few things, like removing physical reminders,
Okay.
unfollowing them on social media, maybe even making a list of their flaws.
Oh, a list of flaws? That seems a little harsh.
It's not about being bitter. It's about shifting the narrative.
Oh, I see. Reclaiming your power.
Exactly. Remembering why the relationship ended.
Okay.
And recognizing those patterns that weren't healthy.
Like making space for a new chapter.
And that actually leads perfectly into our next point.
Okay.
The importance of reconnecting with your support system.
Our support system, right?
6 things to do after a breakup and coping with a breakup or divorce. Both emphasize that.
They do. Leaning on your friends and family.
It's about recognizing you don't have to go through this alone.
It's like having a warm blanket on a cold day.
Yeah, that feeling of comfort.
And 6 things to do after a breakup had this great tip
Oh, I love their tips.
about making time for real, deep conversation.
Not just surface level chit chat.
Exactly.
Being truly heard.
And coping with a breakup or divorce added a really important layer to that.
What's that?
Choosing your support system wisely.
Oh, that's so important.
Surrounding yourself with positive people
Right.
who genuinely listen.
Who lift you up, not drag you down.
Exactly.
Speaking of lifting you up,
Yeah.
let's talk self-care.
Self-care. That seems to be the golden thread
Yes.
through all of these sources.
It is. Journaling, exercise, sleep, good food.
Yeah. Pampering yourself a little.
It's all about nurturing yourself back to wholeness.
And even the Reddit thread mentioned this.
The Reddit thread.
Yeah. Remember that user who talked about using this time for a glow up?
Oh, yeah. Channeling all that energy
Yeah.
into something positive.
6 things to do after a breakup had this great list of ideas.
I love that article.
Yeah.
What were some of their ideas?
Like dancing in the shower.
Oh, that's fun.
Or treating yourself to your favorite meal.
Yeah, little things like that make a big difference.
It's like giving yourself permission to be happy.
Exactly. And, it speaks to the importance of balance.
Right.
We're acknowledging the pain,
Yeah.
but we're also finding moments of joy.
It's all part of healing. Acknowledging those difficult emotions, setting healthy boundaries, surrounding yourself with support, and taking care of yourself.
Like the building a foundation.
It is for a stronger, more resilient you.
Exactly. And as we move forward on this journey,
Yeah.
those old wounds, they can become sources of wisdom and strength.
They can.
And as we kind of move further along in this healing process, a really interesting shift starts to happen.
Oh, yeah.
That initial intensity of all those crazy emotions, it just starts to fade a bit.
Okay.
And we enter this new phase.
A piece of reflection.
Reflection. Yes, that introspective part.
Exactly.
I'm seeing this theme pop up in a lot of the sources we're looking at.
Oh, yeah.
Like 6 things to do after a breakup and coping with a breakup or divorce. They're encouraging us to take a step back,
Right.
analyze the situation,
Yeah.
and really think about what we've learned about ourselves.
It's a time for asking those tough questions.
The ones that maybe we weren't ready to face.
Right. In
Yeah.
the initial shock.
Exactly.
What were some of those tough questions that stood out to you?
Well, 6 things to do after a breakup had this one that really resonated with me.
Okay.
Who were you at the start of the relationship versus who you are now?
That's so powerful. Like framing the potential for growth.
It's we enter relationships as one version of ourselves.
Yeah.
And hopefully we come out
Yeah.
more evolved, more self-aware.
It's like that saying, every experience leaves a mark on us.
It does.
And it's up to us to choose what kind of mark we want it to be.
I love.
Do we let it define us or do we learn from it and grow?
Exactly.
Oh, and coping with a breakup or divorce had this other piece of advice.
Okay, what's that?
They're advising against making any major life decisions
Oh, right.
until you've had enough time to process everything.
Makes total sense.
Doesn't it?
When we're hurting, it's easy to act impulsively.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Try to fill that void with something drastic.
Right. Definitely.
But those decisions might not be coming from the right place.
Yeah, like from a place of pain rather than clarity.
Exactly.
Like we need that grace period
We do.
to breathe and to heal.
Regain perspective.
So we've reflected, we've processed, we're starting to see a little bit of hope,
Mm.
and then comes the next stage. Moving forward,
Yeah.
it's like we've slain the dragon,
Yeah.
and now we're venturing out into uncharted territory.
It can be both exciting and terrifying.
Absolutely. It's like a new adventure.
And 8 Ways to Feel Better After a Breakup had this really empowering message.
Oh, yeah. What was it?
They were basically like, accept that it's over,
Okay.
be patient with yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and recognize that you're healing with every step you take.
It's a reminder that healing isn't like a destination, it's a journey.
It is.
Hmm.
And it's not always a straight line either.
So true. Lots of twists and turns.
Ups and downs.
Remember that person from the Reddit thread who was talking about using this time for a glow up?
Oh, yeah. I loved that.
That's taking action, right? Channeling that energy into something positive.
I love that idea. It's so empowering.
It's not just about moving on from the relationship.
Right.
It's about rediscovering yourself,
Exactly.
exploring new possibilities.
And it's amazing how those possibilities start to open up
I know.
when we create space for them.
It's like when you declutter a room.
Oh, yeah.
Suddenly there's room for new things to come in.
I love that analogy.
So what about you, the listener? What's resonating with you from all of this?
Yeah. What feels most relevant to your journey?
Remember, this is just a starting point.
It is.
You can take these ideas and apply them to your own unique experience.
And if there's one thing I want you to take away from all of this,
What's that?
it's to be kind to yourself.
Yes. So important.
You're going through something really tough.
Yeah.
You deserve all the compassion you can give yourself.
Don't be afraid to reach out for support
Please don't.
if you're struggling.
Your friends, family, even a therapist.
There's strength in vulnerability.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And remember,
Yeah.
healing isn't linear. There will be setbacks.
Oh, for sure.
But as long as you keep moving forward, even if it's baby steps,
Mm-hmm.
you'll get there.
You will. And maybe this breakup
Yeah.
will actually lead to something even better than you could have imagined.
You never know what's around the corner.
That's the beauty of new beginnings, isn't it?
It is. They're full of possibilities.
So as you navigate this next chapter,
Mm-hmm.
hold onto that sense of hope
Yeah.
and remember to be kind to yourself. You've got this. You know, through all this research, one thing that keeps coming up for me
Oh, yeah.
is this idea of a breakup being like a catalyst
Right.
for personal growth.
That's interesting. I see that too in a lot of these sources.
Yeah, it's like this horrible, painful experience
Yeah.
can actually become a turning point in our lives.
Yeah, like a chance to step into a better version of ourselves.
Exactly. And it reminds me of this quote I saw recently.
Oh, yeah.
Something like, sometimes good things have to fall apart so that better things can fall together.
Oh, I love that.
Cheesy, but
It's true, though.
it is. It really is.
It's hard to see it when you're in the midst of it all, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
But I think that's a really powerful way to look at it.
It is like that whole phoenix rising from the ashes thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You go through this like burning,
Mm-hmm.
this letting go of what no longer serves you.
Right.
And then in that space, something new and beautiful can emerge.
And I think a huge part of that process is really learning to be kind to ourselves.
Oh, self-compassion.
Exactly.
So important.
We're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes.
We're human.
Right. And sometimes we need to reach out for support.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Friends, family, maybe even a therapist.
It's okay to ask for help.
It is. There's strength in that vulnerability.
And speaking of challenges,
Yeah.
there's this other part of moving forward that I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
That fear of the unknown.
Oh, yeah. That's a big one.
Like, you let go of the past relationship, but then you're faced with this blank slate.
Right.
And it can be scary.
It can be. It's like starting a journey without a map.
Exactly. But there's also freedom in that, right?
There is. You get to make your own path.
Rediscover yourself, explore new things.
And that might be the best part of it all.
It might be. This chance to rewrite your story.
And remember, you don't have to have it all figured out right away.
Oh,
Take it one day at a time.
Be patient with yourself.
Be patient.
So as we wrap up today,
Yeah.
I really hope you're walking away with some sense of hope.
We do.
Breakups are rough, no doubt about it.
Yeah, they are.
But they can also be incredibly transformative
Absolutely.
if we allow ourselves to heal and to grow.
They can teach us so much
They really can.
about ourselves, about what we want.
Exactly.
So yeah, this conversation is ending,
Yeah,
but your journey is just beginning.
that's right. Be patient, celebrate your wins,
Your little victories.
and trust that you have the strength to create an amazing future for yourself.
A future filled with joy and love and everything you deserve.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.
We'll see you next time.
Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.